Mark never liked conflict, but Jenna seemed to thrive on it. She was his wife and also a rising executive at a major company. At social events, she often teased him in front of others, brushing off his contributions and making jokes at his expense. Friends laughed awkwardly and co-workers smiled politely, but Mark felt the sting every single time. Still, he kept quiet, choosing patience over confrontation because he thought silence was strength. But the night of the charity gala changed everything. The ballroom was filled with hundreds of guests, industry leaders, and reporters with cameras flashing everywhere. Mark stood by Jenna's side, dressed in his best suit, trying to support her achievements. When the microphone was handed to her for a speech, she smiled brightly and thanked the crowd. Then she turned toward him and made a joke that cut deeper than any insult. She called him dead weight and said the only thing he contributed was holding her purse. The audience laughed, some uncomfortably, others too loudly. Mark forced a smile and stood still, letting the humiliation sink in without a word. Jenna beamed as if she had won a small victory in front of her peers. But Mark was no fool. He knew what he had to do. The next morning he quietly gathered every piece of information he had collected over the years. Because while Jenna had been chasing status, Mark had been managing their finances and keeping copies of her careless mistakes. There were emails showing questionable deals, there were expense reports filled with false charges, and there were messages that revealed conflicts of interest. Mark took the evidence to a lawyer who confirmed what he already suspected. Jenna had crossed serious professional lines, and the proof was undeniable. He packaged everything neatly and submitted it to the company's board of directors. Then he waited in silence, never telling Jenna what was coming. A week later, news spread quickly through the office that Jenna had been called into a closed-door meeting. She emerged pale-faced, without her usual confidence. By the end of the day, she had been suspended pending investigation. Her co-workers whispered in the halls, some pitying her, others glad to see her fall. Jenna stormed home, demanding to know if Mark had done something. But he only looked at her calmly and asked why she thought humiliation was a game. Within a month her career was over, her position stripped, her reputation in ruins. The same people who had laughed at her jokes now avoided her calls. Mark filed for divorce soon after, leaving her with nothing but her pride in pieces. He never raised his voice, he never embarrassed her. In return, he simply let the truth speak louder than any insult. And in the end, the woman who had mocked him publicly lost everything she had built. Mark walked away free with dignity intact, while Jenna faced the wreckage of her choices. And that was the moment he realized that silence had not been weakness but the greatest weapon of all.